Here at Silverstone, we've got our own four-wheel version of Euro 2000 in the form of rounds 11 and 12 of the Auto Trader British Touring Car Championship. And what a league of nations it is. Just to remind you, the championship is led by a Swiss. That's followed by a Scotsman, then a Swede, then an Englishman, then a Frenchman, then we've got an Italian and a Dane. Sounds like one of those terrible pub jokes. And on top of all of that, we've got our own Belgian as well. And I tell you, he's starting to make an impact on this championship big time. Alton Park 2 weeks ago saw Vincent Rademacher equal his best ever BTCC score of second position. After an incident-packed race, he managed to hold off the whole field except for Alain Menu's Ford and proved that when he's on the ball, he can go for that elusive goal of a BTCC win.
Sure, that when I am on the front, it's possible to keep the position and to fight for the lead. So it's kept me really happy to see that. But yeah, it's still a championship where you have to qualify on the front to get a good result, and it's really important to qualify well. So I work very hard on that. I really love the track here. It's some like Alton Park, very exciting and very dangerous.
What's it like at Silverstone with all that added weight?
I don't know, because I didn't have any weight penalty before. So it's good news for me to have weight penalty, because it means that you have a good result the weekend before. So I'm looking now to this race to see if it will be a problem or not. So I will tell you after Sunday race.
I think it's all over, but it is now. And the best Italian player on the BTCC.
Okay, so it's down to penalties. And our guide is BTCC's self-appointed team captain, Gabriele Tarquini. Vincent Rademacher scored a 30-kilo penalty after Alton Park. Reed's got Scotland's hopes on his shoulders with 20 kilos of ballast. And Jason Plato might have to settle for a midfield role with 30 kilos. Now, Menu's win at Alton Park could prove an own goal, as it hands him a 40-kilo penalty. As for Gabriele, well, he doesn't have a penalty at all, but with a name like that, at least he should be able to play football. His teammate Tom Christensen is carrying weight. He's had a slow start to the season, but after his win at Alton Park, he now has 40 kilograms to carry around, so he'll have to have his eyes firmly on the ball.
It's very important to get the first win in, and especially in a tough championship like this. It has done a lot of good, especially for the hard-working mechanics and for my mind as well.
Big result, but what a nerve-wracking win.
I hit some debris of the brake discs of Rydell, we have found out, which hit the sump. I came over the small hill and offline, and there was some debris of Rydell's and fought left to the end. So for sure I was pretty scared, and I'm told that when they came back to the workshop there was half a liter of oil left in the engine, so it was close.
One man who won't be carrying any success ballast this weekend is Peugeot front-runner Alan Morrison, and the reason for that is quite simple. He had a nightmare of a weekend last time out at Alton Park. However, help is in hand, or should I say competition. 1991 BTCC champion Will Hoy adds to the star-studded lineup in this championship. He returns this time in a Class B Peugeot.
Well, I'm obviously very pleased to be back in the British Touring Car Championship. It's the premier category in Britain. And I'm very pleased that the Touring Car VIP Club have asked me to drive what is now their second car. It's a great car to drive, and I've just had now just one day or half day of testing, and it's a huge amount of fun to drive. I'm here to help Alan Morrison win, and if he has a problem, I'm not going to hold back. I'm going to be out there and going for a win. So it's a team effort from that point of view. We're not going to trip over each other, I hope. Mind you, I have a history of falling over teammates falling over me, I don't know which way, including at Silverstone when Julian Bailey and I had a bit of a coming together when we were first and second at Silverstone at the Grand Prix support meeting. That was a classic when I ended up on my roof, and he went out with damage as well. So that won't happen again, I'm sure. I don't think so, anyway.
And with all of Morrison's main rivals absolutely loaded to the gunnels with weight, this weekend, in theory, should be a good one for the Peugeot team. So let's have a look at qualifying. Now, for Will Hoy, it was. He had a dream session, putting his Peugeot in front of the rest of the Class B cars, while teammate Morrison has to start at the back after suffering electrical problems. Matt Neal seemed to be going well, but got thrown to the back for the feature race due to a technical infringement, as did Gabriele Tarquini in the Honda. The Fords were suffering with this excess ballast more than usual, and Menu only managed 7th for the feature. It was shaping up as a good day for Thompson in the Honda. But Rydell found a blistering pace, and without any weight, he managed to snatch pole for both races. Never mind though, Jimmy T still starts on the front row for the sprint race, so it ain't all bad. But hats off to that Swede.
It's been a very good weekend for us, especially after Alton Park with 2 non-finishes, so I'm really glad to be on pole both sessions. We know that we have to work hard, and we know that we have to do a perfect job to win races, for sure. Very good. Well done.
Silverstone is a something for everybody sort of driver's track, from the tight twiddly parts of the complex to Beckett's where you're going really quickly, breaking off balance, and also corners that carry a lot of speed through them, like this one, Bridge Corner. You're really flying through here, Alan.
Yeah, it's a great corner, that one. It's taken in 5th gear and not quite flat. We've got to lift off. It probably could be flat, but the problem is comes for the next corner, which is Priory or left-hander. If you carry too much speed through that one, then you'll find yourself on the wrong line for the left-hander into Priory.
Yeah. And
then you could be in all sorts of problems. So it's better to keep the car in the middle of the track, so you're able then to come all the way on the right-hand side to have the right line for Priory. But it's interesting corner, that one.
The problem for this track, though, is what you could call weight sensitivity, if you like. You've been carrying weight all year and done really well, but you're finding it difficult here.
Yeah, I mean, I've got 40 kilos again, and on that track, we've got more of a problem than we usually have. I think it's because you've got, like you said, you've got some fast corners and slow ones, but there are quite a few slow corners, and we lose out on the braking and then on acceleration. So it's a bit of a problem. So I didn't qualify as well as I wanted to. But
racecraft will count.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see.
If at first you don't succeed, try again. That's exactly what James Thompson in the Honda is going to be doing, trying again to win a race. Although I tipped him as the guy to win the championship, amazingly, he's the only Honda man never to have bagged a win. Now, he had problems earlier the year. The big crash at Brands Hatch didn't help him, but even so, this afternoon, he'll be desperate to bag something. This is his best opportunity because he's on the front row of the grid. This, however, is the problem he faces. This is Ricard Rydell in the Ford. Ricard is blisteringly fast around here. He's actually the pole man for both of our races. So, John Watson, the key to this is going to be the drag into the first corner.
Thank you, Charlie. Well, Honda's got plenty of poke in a straight line, but Ricard Rydell's got the advantage of carrying no ballast here this weekend for the 15-lap sprint race on Silverstone's international circuit. On row 2, Anthony Reid in the second Mondeo and Gabriele Tarquini in his Honda. Tom Christensen and Alan Menu make up row 3. And then we've got the 2 Vauxhalls, Jason Plato and Ivan Muller on row 4, with lead independent Matt Neal and Vincent Rademacher on row 5. Colin Blair and his Nissan, and then the lead and returnee Will Hoy in the Peugeot. Mark Lemmer and Robert Collard on row 7. Nick James, a newcomer, and James Kay in row 8. And finally, after a torrid qualifying, Alan Morrison.
Revs are up, ready for a start. Rydell away very quickly. Brilliant start by Ricard Rydell, but look, Alain Menu is stuck.
No, stuck.
It's Menu stuck in the middle of the grid. Everyone funneling around him, problems with his clutch. Okay, bad news for him. His teammate, though, is out in front. That's Ricard Rydell. Good start for Tarquini as well. He's held on there in second place. Anthony Reid in the Ford, really harrying in third. Down into Beckett's for the first time. Tarquini, Reid right behind, then Thompson's in the second of the Honda, starting to really push. And here comes Ivan Muller. Here's the view from Ivan Muller. Jason Plato ahead of us.
Drive through penalty, Ivan. Why? Ivan, you lined up in the wrong place, too far forward. You have a drive-through penalty.
Great news on your first lap.
Ivan Muller trying to get the car as straight as possible for the start. Of course, Woodcote, it is a bend, and Muller got caught out.
Talk about getting caught out. Matt Neal getting a bit of a push there, almost getting caught out by Vincent Rademacher in the Vauxhall. Coming down into Abbey, the car's almost stopped there. Tarquini second place on board with him now, trying to find a way past Ricard Rydell. An absolute lunge, flying flying there through Bridge Corner. We walked through there before with Alain. You saw how quickly you go through there. There's the quick way in. Side by side into the complex. That's not really helping him though, because Anthony Reid is now up into the chase right behind Tarquini. Tarquini is challenging. Tarquini is side by side. A headman shoulder from Tarquini into the side of Rydell. Saw Rydell pushed wide. Now Anthony Reid in the second of the fourth is trying to pick up on Rydell. That's the view back from him. Big pass there.
Ricard Rydell, he opened the door to Tarquini. Tarquini didn't need a second invitation. He put the nose inside, pushed Rydell out, and he's got the lead.
Firm stuff, and it's really Constantine in second place back there. There's the view of it. You can see now Rydell trying to regroup, work out what's going on, scratching his head. Reid's right behind him. Thompson's got his tail up, and so is Jason Plato and Ivan Muller, and the pair of those Vauxhalls. They're all over the back of Thompson. Now here's the view from Anthony Reid, third place. He's really starting to bring Rydell under big pressure.
As they come out of Beckett's, they got the run down into Abbey. A favourite overtaking place of Anthony Reid. Remember those Nissan days?
Rydell under brakes. Anthony Reid, his teammate, has actually nerfed him in the back of the car. That's cost them places as well. Look, Rydell has just lost a place already to James Thompson in the Honda. Honda is streaking ahead. Two Fords are now both losing position. Anthony Reid still trying to hold on. Now he's coming under pressure from Jason Plato. Jason Plato moves down the inside. All the contact you like moving into the complex. That's pushed us further back. I'm getting a headache. This is going very, very badly for Jason. He's just lost a spot to his teammate. He's just lost a spot to Reid. And now he's been shutted off as well. I think that was a Honda, maybe Christensen Thompson. Plato on the infield.
Some atmosphere is smashed to bits.
Yes, smashed to bits indeed. What a pummeling.
Retiring of this atmosphere.
That whole episode started in Ferrari, but it ended up in Brooklands, and it's poor Jason Plato. He got clipped in the left rear by Tom Christensen, broken suspension, out of this race.
Action of plenty in the opening 3 laps, and there's more action. I can't believe that's somebody off. I can't see who. Dust everywhere. There's the view from Mark Blair's car. I can't see passing somebody. That's a Honda limping. That's Tarquini. That's Tarquini. He was our race leader. Tarquini has gone off. There's the new race leader, Ricard Rydell. Tarquini must have just fallen off on his own.
There was nobody else around him. He must have gone to the cops a little bit too hot. And there we see Alain Menu. His race is over as well.
And no 6th gear. Okay, fuck it up, chaps. Let's delve into it as quickly as possible, please.
Well, it's all bad news. You can hear the pit crew there talking to Alain Menu. Park it up, forget about it. But talk about action stations. Let's try to regroup. Ricard Rydell, you can see him disappearing off into the distance there. He's having a fabulous run. Anthony Reid is working his way back through the field after all the shenanigans down there in Abbey. There's Alain Menu. It just didn't work from the start, did he?
In fact, it was even worse at the start because he spun on his warm-up lap, and that almost saw him not even take up his grid position.
Yeah, that was nature trying to tell him forget that race altogether. Now here's another race in itself. Matt Neal and Vincent Rademacher. Rademacher in the red Vauxhall. Now we're on board with another red Vauxhall, and it's Ivan Muller, and he's coming into the pits as well. That's his drive-through.
Keep going drive-through. Pit lane speed.
Well, you wouldn't want to speed on your drive-through, would you? That'd be just the end.
It's happened to some before, but 40 mile an hour down the Silverstone pit lane, it's a long, long way.
Now, Waddy, here's an explanation. Here, we are on board with Tarquini, and we are going through Copse Corner.
Everything looks perfect. He gets a good line into the corner. I think he was just travelling too quick, couldn't keep the car on track, gets on the gravel, but look what happens.
Absolutely sideways right across the track. Dear me, that was Ricard Rydell. Not a fag paper between them. Now, here's the view from Rydell's car.
Again, you see the car just swings across the track. How he missed him, and Tarquini's in the pit lane.
I think I need a cup of tea and a Bex and a good lie down. Time for a rest. Now, here's our Class B battle, and there is Mark Lemmer just sliding down the inside of Alan Morrison. These two have been working each other over all season long. Terrifically close racing between them. This is the battle for second. Remember, Morrison started on the back of the grid.
And he's doing a very good job indeed this afternoon. Look at the speed of the Peugeot, just out-drags the Honda down into Abbey. But Mark Lemmer is not giving up, and in fact, Lemmer right now is the more aggressive of the two drivers.
Lemmer fighting back through Abbey Corner. Morrison's going to have to try to do that all over again. We saw these pair do exactly the same thing at Knockhill, side by side through the tricky parts of the circuit up there in Scotland. Now they're doing it again. Side by side, under Bridge Corner, side by side into the complex. Morrison, surely he's got the line and make it stick this time. Unbelievable. Lemmer's fighting back. He's like a snake. You just can't kill him. He won't die. Hitting him over and over again. Lemmer's still hanging on.
Yes, but I think Morrison now, having got the nose in front, has just got sufficient speed to pull away from the two Hondas. It's now Kay behind Lemmer. And there you see the Peugeot is about to disappear into the distance.
You need to come into the pits. You've been black and orange flag. You need to come into the pits to fix your rear bumper.
Horrible news there from Brad Joyce talking to his driver, Ricard Rydell. And here's the reason why it's been black flagged. That's why Anthony Reid running into the back of Rydell's car, and obviously now the bumper's off. The paperwork's going to be hell after this.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what excuse Anthony comes up with this time for hitting his teammate.
Here's the view back from Ricard's car. Pretty firm.
Yeah, I think Ricard would have felt that one, and of course that's where the damage to that rear bumper was done. Not on the first lap with Tarquini.
But here's the damage, because it's cost Ricard Rydell this lead, and as you can see from the footage, it even cost Anthony Reid a place at the point when that happened. And it is appalling luck for Ricard Rydell. He was the pole man, remember, and he's been leading this race almost all the way through. Now he's in the pits.
Rydell got the black and orange flag, and that meant he had to come into the pits.
Pit lane speed limit.
And look at it dragging on the ground. A bit of plastic, but nonetheless sufficient to bring him in and lose him even more position.
Now here's a bloke that's made some position, James Thompson. He is now our new race leader because his teammate Tarquini chucked it at the scenery earlier. Now Ricard Rydell has been brought into the pits. We get that offending bumper off pretty quick.
Yes, but of course all the damage is done on the time taken to come in, get the bumper off and get back out, and of course then get back up to speed. I mean, in a 15-lap race, it's just a nightmare.
Well, we saw the Fords at play. Now here are the Peugeots at play. This is the Class B battle, and they are dicing for the Class B lead. The pair of them, that's Will Hoy making a return to British Touring Cars in the lead of the Peugeots, and Morrison, who's come from the back of the field, worked all his way through, is now all over Hoy's bumper.
And Hoy doing a very good job on his return, and in fact, I'm surprised he's actually showing up Alan Morrison, but Morrison, now that he's got ahead of those two Hondas, is doing the job that he should have been doing all year.
Now look behind them, here's our race leader, James Thompson, in the Works Honda as well. He's coming down on these two Class B, but oh, he splits them like an unwelcome guest at a cocktail party. They throw either side of the track and let him through. On board with Hoy now, and Morrison slips through there as well. So Morrison takes the Class B lead. Will is in second position through Abbey. And there is Anthony Reid in the Works Ford in second position, chasing up over the hill behind James Thompson. Now on board with Gabriele Tarquini now. He's trying to work his way back through the field. Remember, he led the race for a bit before throwing it away at Cops Corner.
He did all the hard work getting past Ricard Rydell at the end of lap one. Throwing it away like that, Gabriele, is not going to do you very many favours.
Well, now he's trying to work his way back up. He's chasing Vincent Rademacher. So Vincent is flying the flag for Vauxhall because his two teammates have both had problems. Jason Plato, as we know, punted into infield right here at the centre of the complex. And Ivan Muller, the lead man, if you like, in the Vauxhall team, earning himself a drive-through penalty on lap one. So a very frustrating race, the first one of the day, but a frustrating one for Vauxhall. Here's the view from Vincent's car. He is in fifth position, and he's closing up now on the Class B battle. That is Will Hoy. We're just sliding through on the inside of Cops, and ahead of us Morrison. Just want to slip through there in time. I don't think he was spotted.
I think Morrison missed that, and he suddenly pulled back very quickly. Rademacher under pressure from Tarquini, didn't need a little scare like that. And Tarquini very quick to jump at any opportunity given to him.
Well, you can see it actually affected Alan Morrison's speed. It must have given him a fright. He lifted just momentarily off the throttle because Will Hoy, who we are riding with now, is all over his boot lid. There's another boot lid being all overed as well. That's Tarquini, and he's really closing on Rademacher now. He still wants the race.
Yes, he does. He really saw an opportunity with Morrison. Rademacher was a little bit apprehensive, but Tarquini is now on the boot lid of Vincent Rademacher.
Plenty of power in that Honda up the hill from Abbey. It's quite a steep hill. Now Vincent's got to defend as they move into the complex. Now, on board with Will Hoy, all sorts of problems, but very silent.
I thought the camera had got down first, but something has gone wrong. It looks as if he's got a tyre or something. He's lost control of the car. Really on the grass now, pulling off, and that's the end of the day for Will Hoy.
Yeah, no engine though. Something's conked out there under the bridge. Bad luck on his return. He was leading and he was the pole man.
Well, if you look under the car, there's liquids. It's like the Torrey Canyon underneath. That looks like a major engine failure.
Well, that'll be oil right on the apex of a very important corner going into the complex. So we'll have to watch for that as this race unfolds. On board with Tarquini. That's Rademacher. That was the boot lid you were talking about, John, wasn't it? Oh, look at that. They're like a Honda jelly mold, isn't it, in the back of that Vauxhall? Very neat imprint of a Honda in the back of Vincent Rademacher's car, but Vincent holds the place.
It's the kind of move that's going to give Vincent a complex. It doesn't need to be hit anymore in this race.
Indeed. Well, here is... it hasn't worked for him so far, and here is Tarquini's teammate, James Thompson. Remember, he is now our race leader. He's a bit lucky, but then again, he's had some bad luck this year.
It's been a terrible season, and Thompson really, when he's in the lead, is sublime, and that's what we're seeing from him now.
Gabriele Tarquini using that manoeuvre he used on Ricard Rydell so effectively at the start of the race. I think a tiny bit of contact there as well for Rademacher on the way through.
But the problem is Tarquini is so charming after the race, you can't get angry with him.
Let's hope that charm works for him when he explains his off from lead position all on his own to his teammates later on. Now, he is moving way away from us now.
And he's still running out to the very edge of the corner out of Copse. He's got two wheels almost in the gravel.
Just proving to us it does actually work as a line as long as you don't fall completely off. Next target for him is Matt Neal, but he is fast running out of laps.
Yes, this is the last lap, but of course Tarquini has got the momentum, and Matt Neal is just another target. So, coming into Abbey, will he do it again?
Race leader James Thompson, it's all looking very, very comfortable now. Just a couple of corners, just has to hang it together and get across the line. A huge margin for error, making it look easy now.
Yeah, you can see him in the pace. He's dropped the pace altogether. He's not under pressure from behind. Anthony Reid in the first of the Mondeo was really unable to come back, and now it is just the run to the line.
Great news for James Thompson. He really needed a win, but as he goes across the line to celebrate, you cannot help feeling sorry for Ricard Rydell, who was brought in black flag because of problems with the car when he was in the lead. But great drive from James right up there, kept everybody honest, picked up the paces when they came his way, and boy, he does deserve some good luck. Anthony Reid in second place, perhaps a controversial result. Tom Christensen didn't see much of him, but he's up there in third position. Matt Neal, great finish for him, the independent in fourth, and Gabriele Tarquini, hero to zero and back to fifth position. Not a bad result under the circumstances. Vincent Rademacher, as I said, flying the flag for Vauxhall, then Ivan Muller, Ricard Rydell, Blair, and then Morrison in the Class B makes the top 10.
Yeah, obviously a touch fortuitous, but the way my season's been going, I'll take it as it comes at the moment. So we got no testing in on Friday, and so we tested through the qualifying session, and we were very pleased with the second qualifying session. Got us on the front row, and yeah, great performance. Very pleased for Honda. Chalked my first win of the year up, and hopefully finally start the ball rolling.
But Mr. Consistency, Anthony Reid, well, he just keeps on keeping on. Moves into the lead of the championship, even though he's yet to win a race.
You've got to look at the big picture in this kind of championship, the British Touring Car Championship. I've done it for a few years. Consistency does certainly help, and but really to turn things around, I'm going to have to look for a couple of wins in the near future, because there are drop scores to take into account. Basically, at this stage, it's anyone's championship.
Hey, talk about going from hero to zero. Gabriele Tarquini, the ebullient Italian, you might remember momentarily led race one. Well, he ain't going to do that in race two, because look where he is, right down the back of the grid. He was flung out of qualifying yesterday for a technical infringement and finds himself all the way down the back of the grid. He's not on his own, though, because he's right alongside independent giant killer Matt Neal in the Nissan. Matt, too, fell foul of the officials and finds himself in the middle of the Class B runners. Now, his team reckon the strategy is going to be, if he gets caught up in traffic, they're going to pit early, say lap 6, see if they can make up some places. Talking of Class B, keep an eye out for this guy, Alan Morrison. Now, he started the first race from the last position and won the class. I reckon, John Watson, he'll do it again.
Charlie, history is with those men from Northern Ireland. I started at the back of the grid and also won races. But back at the front, it's that man, Ricard Rydell, his second pole position of the day. Alongside him is Mr. Consistency, Anthony Reid, looking for his first win of the year. Plato and Muller make up row 2, and this afternoon's first winner, James Thompson, alongside his teammate, Tom Christensen. Alain Menu down in row 4 with Vincent Rademacher, then the lead independent, Colin Blair in his Nissan, and the quickest of the Class Bs once again is Will Hoy. James Kay and Robert Collard in row 6, a pair of Honda Integra Rs in row 7, Tarquini and Matt Neal down in row 8, and Charlie's tip for the top, Alan Morrison in row 9.
Okay, revs are up and it's symmetry a go-go. Ford, Vauxhall, Honda, and all three pairs are away. away well. Rydell, our pole man, a blinder away. Look at Muller in the Vauxhall on the left-hand side of the screen, moving up on the pit wall. Then you've got Plato on the right-hand side. See, Anthony Reid in that second of the Fords is in a real Vauxhall sandwich. You've got unfriendly people on both sides of you, but somehow holds through, gets through, cops okay. Rydell's still in the lead. Reid has got all sorts of problems around him. That's Ivan Muller challenging, and Plato is challenging Muller. Muller gets a little bit sideways on the first of those red Vauxhalls, hangs onto it, gives Reid a little bit of a rub. Everyone amazingly through. Blinding start there. And Will Hoy, Class B, off again. Bad luck. Didn't finish race one. Now we're on board with Colin Blair. He's our Independence Cup leader, heading down towards Abbey for the first time. Now that Menu just ahead of us. The whole field compresses. Menu is trying to slide through, and someone is sliding through past us. We can just see a bonnet on the right-hand side. That was Gabriele Tarquini, James Thompson. You're not seeing double. That's a Honda on both sides of the screen, and they are moving right up the middle around the tail end Vauxhall through Bridge Corner. Very quickly now. Colin Blair making a good start, a good showing here. And now running wide. Someone else must have just slid through the inside. Yes, lost the position to Matt Neal.
Well, Matt Neal obviously a lot more experienced and a lot quicker than Colin Blair in his initial year in touring cars, giving plenty of space. Sensible thing to do in the early stages of a race like this, because it's so easy to get knocked.
Very clean start by Ricard Rydell. Au contraire, he stayed well out of trouble. Anthony Reid in second position, counting them down. Muller is right behind him in the first of the red Vauxhalls. There he is. Then it's Plato, then Tom Christensen in the Honda, then Alain Menu in the third of the Fords, who's picked up another position. He's up into sixth now.
But Menu really hurting with that 40-kilogram weight penalty he's got to carry. It hurt him in practice, and he's really struggling to get through the field.
Up the smoke there from the back of Plato's car. There's Tom Christensen in the lead Honda. And he's really staying in touch. It was a very, very neat grid with the pair of Fords followed by a pair of Vauxhalls. Then the two Hondas. Christensen is the better performer out of those. Now in Class B, there's Mark Lemmer coming under challenge already from Morrison once again. He started off the back of the grid, but you just can't keep him down.
No, that's a quick car. Morrison gaining again more experience. Very quick on his own, finding it a little bit tougher in traffic. But Mark Lemmer will teach you those lessons pretty quickly.
Now here's some traffic, Waddy, a pair of Fords, and look at Ivan Muller, the flamboyant Frenchman, absolutely hanging it out under Bridge Corner.
It's as if somebody told him he isn't in a front-wheel drive touring car. I mean, he just throws that car around. He's got no care. It's just all abandoned.
Yeah, there's a Vauxhall plan, actually. They never let him look under the bonnet. He has no idea. Now Mark Lemmer sliding around the inside of Morrison. Morrison takes the place from him. Nice pass. There's Collard. Collard in the Nissan. He wants a bit of this as well. Gives Mark Lemmer a bit of a tap. Very strong.
And you know what the good news is? This is what we're going to see all next year. These are the cars we're going to have in touring car racing next year. They can pass. And the reason they can pass? No aerodynamics.
Well, you can chuck a blanket over them. They're trying to chuck car doors over each other. Lemmer fights back once again. Gives him an absolute hip and shoulder into the grass. Take that.
He reminds me of Dennis Wise, an upset.
Rough, tough stuff. Good to watch. Now here's something good to watch as well, because we're in the box seat with Gabriele Tarquini, and he is just very neatly tucking on the inside of Vincent Rademacher, with whom he had so much fun in race one. Vincent unsportingly has changed his rear bumper and made the car look like new again. That's inviting disaster. Where is he? Flying under Bridge Corner. Rademacher's around here somewhere. I think Tarquini slipped through.
Plain and simple, Tarquini's a really good race driver.
There is Rademacher now. He's lost a place. Oh, there's James Thompson. He's not going to slip through. He's trying to drive through. Gives Rademacher a big tag in the middle of the complex. Now Rademacher fighting back. There's Thompson. Ahead of Thompson is Tarquini. He refrains from returning the compliment.
I don't think James wants to earn any negative points after a fine win in the first race this afternoon. And Tarquini is not the person to do it with either.
I don't know what actually happened to James. He was further up the grid than this. He's coming back through. He either had a bad start or got pushed wide somewhere. But he's way down the pack. Rademacher was showing all sorts of restraint, not to give him a little bit of a headbutt in return. Now, here's Colin Blair. He was leading the independents at the start of this race, but he scored himself a drive-through penalty. Bad luck for him. And Ivan Muller just will not let that corner go. He clips the inside curb there through Bridge. It's terrifying to watch.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to be so committed to going through Bridge Corner, and then up into Priory, you have to anticipate the apex. But he just throws the box around and away. I don't know anybody else drives a touring car like Ivan Muller.
I don't know if he is committed or ought to be committed, but he's absolutely fearless under there through Bridge Corner. Now here's Colin Blair after his drive-through, working his way back up through the field, passing Morrison in the Peugeot, who himself is working his way up through the Class B field. starting off the back of the grid. There is our leader in Class B. Just saw a glimpse of him, James Kay in the Honda.
And I think you can see here really the difference between the Class B cars and the Super Tours. Class B just moves around a lot more on the racetrack. There's James Kay ahead. Now just you can see a lot slower going through Brooklands Corner as they drop down into Lovefield. And again, Blair really having to back out of it. He can't afford to go the long way around. Just James Kay's fighting for grip, but now the power and the grip of the Nissan take it ahead.
Very easy to see how much more power they've got. Very, very spectacular. This is looking pretty spectacular as well. That's a bumper-eye view from the front of Ivan Muller's car. Really moving into the back of Anthony Reid's Ford, as close as you like. There's our race leader, Rydell. There is Reid, and there is Muller. We know how close he is. We just saw...
In, Ivan, in. Okay, in.
I was just going to say, we just saw right up Reid's exhaust pipe, but more importantly, Waddy, early pit for Muller.
Yes, it is. I think maybe the team have decided that Muller can run quicker than the two Fords, but he can't get past them. So rather than wasting time running behind them and then making a pit stop, go into the pits now, get the job done, get back out on a clear part of track, run hard on those out laps, and try and make up the time that otherwise he would lose by banging behind. Now the average time in, stopped and out is going to be around about 27, 28 seconds, but of course the pit stop itself will be somewhere around about 6 seconds. Muller in. Car up, fronts only. Vauxhall have been stunning. We've seen 4.5 seconds stopped, well, 4.56. That's as good as it gets. Gabriele Tarquini also following the Honda in. Let's see how the Honda team do the job. Remember that Honda still raised very high, 5.52 seconds. Honda tell me the lower jack position makes it more difficult for the guys to get the guns attached to the wheels. Well, they can stick with what they do best.
Might need to get younger pit guys that can bend down more quickly. But the point of the whole exercise is that Ivan Muller is now going to have to absolutely stand on the gas for the next 3 laps to try to make up some space, because the guy we're riding with, Rickard Rydell, is our race leader. We look back to the second place man, Anthony Reid. They're still out. They haven't pitted. Now these guys are going to be absolutely thrashing in that Vauxhall and that Honda of Gabriele Tarquini, trying to make up track position while it's in the clear. Well, here's Rademacher with James Thompson. Thompson passed him a couple of laps ago, but now can't shake him.
Well, it's very competitive throughout the field, and look, James Thompson won the first race. Okay, he was a bit fortuitous, but now he's stuck in a battle in the midfield. All that can be is just the car performances are so equal that wherever you find yourself at the opening lap, it is difficult to make your way up through the field.
Well, Vincent Rademacher is hanging on manfully to that. And at the same time, James Kay is hanging on manfully to his lead, because there is Morrison, and he's caught James Kay, the Class B leader, side by side down the hill. This is going to be close. We're coming into Abbey Corner. That's the really tight right-hander. Makes it look easy.
Yeah, and remember, the Accord's got a 2-litre Honda engine, unlike the Integra R's, which have got a 1.8-litre engine.
Okay, there's Menu out. That's very close in the pit lane. There goes Matt Neal as well. Rattling out of the pits, one after the other. On board with Menu, ahead of us, Jason Plato, and the Vauxhall squirming all over the place.
Yes, you can see when they put the power on, the front wheels tramlined a bit, pull the car one way or the other.
And there goes Muller, ahead of us, so Muller has picked up position.
Very strong run from Ivan Muller, and he'll be able to pull away very quickly indeed from Plato and from Menu.
There's Plato, a little bit of a puff of smoke, trying to brake on cold tyres, cold front tyres. There's Ivan Muller, still really trying to get some pace on.
That was a real key play for Muller to be in early, get out on those tyres, get them up to temperature. He's ahead of his teammate, he's ahead of Menu, but he's really got to pull away from Plato if he's got any chance to take full advantage of that very early pit stop.
And here's the other half of that Muller equation, because these are the race leaders, Rydell and Reid in the Fords, and that is Reid pulling into the pits now. Critically important, very agricultural line he's using across there, real shortcut.
Well, we do have gardeners at Silverstone, but Anthony Reid thinks the verges do need a bit of trimming.
Okay, well, Rydell is still our race leader, but where Rydell and Reid finish up in relation to Muller is absolutely going to test it. Here's the first half of it, Reedy in.
We've seen 4.5 from Vauxhall, 5.5 from Honda, Reid and Rademacher in, so the battle, Ford 6, 7, Rademacher 4.8, stunning, a terrible stop for Reid, 9 seconds. He's given away almost 4 seconds to the Vauxhall team.
They must have had some sort of a problem, a wheel jamming or something, but That's half the equation gone, because Reedy won't feature now. You can't give away that many seconds. Out comes Reed, but you can see cars flying past him that are all part of the shuffle. There's Muller, miles ahead of Reed now, so this is looking pretty good for him. But Rydell is the key because he's yet to pit. Van Muller absolutely driving a qualifier.
I mean, if the car had body language, that car is saying, give me more, I love it. It is just on the limit. That's what a racing car should be all the time.
It shows my mindset. I'd have thought, mercy, mercy, but there you go. Now, Reedy, he's got no green stripe under the name on his window. That means he has pitted. Rydell has a green stripe under the name on his window. That means he has not pitted. When they pit, they rip the stripe off, so we don't lose the plot and work out where everybody is on track. And now he goes. This is it.
He really had to come in immediately once Reed had been in, once Muller had done his pit stop. Get in, do the job, get back out, but it's going to be questionable. Will Rydell be able to come in, stop? We saw a terrible stop from his teammate, 9 seconds. Get back out on track and be ahead of Muller.
Tom Christensen in that Honda has moved up the position, but this is the key.
Full car and the Ford is jacked up. Get the front wheels changed. Well, there's a stop for you. 4.52. The Pro Drive guys can do stunning pit stop. You've just seen it from Rickard Rydell's team.
Moving down the pit lane, looking back from Rickard. Van Muller will be out there on the other side of that guardrail. Get on with it indeed. There's Muller, and Rydell is coming out of the pit lane. Rydell on the right, Muller on the left. Where's it going to end up? I'll tell you where it's going to end up. Muller in front.
Well, you can't get any closer than that. 2 million pit stops, 2 superb touring car drivers, but Muller's got the lead. And really, if he had been in the lead in the early part of this race, those 2 Fords wouldn't have seen where the Vauxhall would have gone.
Now we've got a race on our hands. They've got fresh tyres. They've got the second half of the race to this run. And Rydell has got his tail up. He must catch him. And that's the gap moving down into Abbey Corner. Standing on the brakes. Remember, Rydell is on cold tyres. That's going to make it harder in this outlap.
Yeah, it's very tough. You've got to be so careful, so precise. When those front tyres are still cold, it's not just the braking, but the steering of the car that's going to be affected.
Tom Christensen there in the Honda at the moment, of course, is our race leader because he has not pitted. One of his teammates is doing so, though. James Thompson in.
Well, the Honda guys get the car up. Looks like it's going to be a reasonable stop for James Thompson. 5.76 seconds. Burns rubber, that's to try and get temperature into those front tyres as quickly as possible.
Matt Neal, problems on board with Matt.
Okay, engine's gone. Thrown a rod or something. Pulling off the side of the track.
Well, he's got max power on his windscreen, but he's got no power under his bonnet.
He's going to need a max bank account to fix it as well.
Yeah, something gone wrong, a pretty expensive something. Tom Christensen still our race leader in the Honda, but he'll have to pit pretty soon, and there it is.
So all the main players have now made their pit stops. Tom Christensen runs a little bit wide. You know, it's so important to come into the pit lane quickly to mitigate the length of time you are from entry to exit. Down to 40 miles an hour, it seems interminable the length of time it takes you to get down to your garage. There you can see the guys are prepared, cuts in at the last moment, stays in the black stuff because that grey concrete doesn't have the same braking effect as the tarmac itself. Well, the jack's still up. Christensen in trouble, 7 or 8 seconds. Let's round it out to 8 seconds, and a problem there.
Didn't need that. That will really cost him race order. Here's his teammate, Gabriele Tarquini, up in 7th position. Coming into Cops Corner, just past Collard in the independent Class B Nissan. And, Cops again. That's Cops again. That's where he fell off in race 1.
Yeah, but he must have so much confidence in the car and in Cops Corner. He doesn't mind when he gets the car on the edge, and in fact, some occasions, beyond the edge.
Well, it is one of those corners where you have to carry through bags of speed, isn't it? Really big momentum corner. Anthony Reid, he's had plenty of momentum, so much so that he headbutted his teammate in race 1 down into Abbey Corner. We are heading down towards Abbey Corner now. Now, there's Tarquini. There's Rademacher just sliding around the inside of Mark Lemmer. Mark Lemmer gives him a touch.
Bit cheeky from Mark, you know, this is Class B against the Super Tourers. Is Mark Lemmer maybe repaying a debt from a previous event?
Yeah, had a bit of a count-settling feeling about it, didn't we? Now we're on board with the Van Muller and we are sliding down the inside of Morrison. Just nice and tight, used a bit of the curb. That interminable right-hander back onto the pit straight.
Yeah, a little bit wide in the entry, but I mean, when Muller comes up, he just launches himself at a car, puts the nose of the Vauxhall into the driver's door mirror and says, "It's me, I'm coming through."
All of the action happens in front of the A-pillar in his car. Muller, Rydell and Plato. So Vauxhall, Ford, Vauxhall, then another Ford, then another Ford, then a Honda. Gabriele Tarquini in 6th, then Rademacher 7th, Thompson 8th position and Christensen 9th. The Honda struggling. They were further up the field than that at the start of this race. And Van Muller, meantime, is still absolutely driving the doors off this Vauxhall.
You can see the energy going into the car. Oh, and there's energy of one sort.
That's Jason Plato. Now he's chucked it at the scenery, and now he's trying to snowplow his way out of that gravel, and manages to do so, did not get stuck. That's been a gritty day for Jason Plato, if you'll pardon the pun. He was in the gravel in the first race, and then again. Now, what happened? Here we go.
Well, he's just gone past Alan Morrison, and everything looks fine, but he maybe just gets a little bit loose, gets onto the dirty stuff on the outside of the circuit, and the car just gets away. And the slide continues, and it goes. There we are, into the gravel, up at Beckett. It's almost like Brighton Beach up there at times. There's so much gravel. And it's not Jason's idea to dig himself into it. He wants out.
And in comes Colin Blair into the pits.
Colin comes in.
Very slow.
Yes, it's a slightly slow stop, but I mean, it is sure, and the team are there to change those front wheels. Then that looks like somebody set the extinguisher off as well, so the clock, in fact, is not a bad stop. 6.48 seconds, but it's not good enough to win the season-long Michelin Pit Stop Challenge. Alan Menu did a time 25.736. That's from entry to pit lane, stop, get back out on track, over the stripe. Good job from the Ford team.
Obviously a problem there for Blair, some sort of mechanical problem, because he is crawling. Van Muller's not crawling though, leading the race. Rydell and Menu in 2nd and 3rd, and Reed in 4th. So it's a Vauxhall, then 3 Fords, then Gabriele Tarquini upholding Honda's honours in 5th position. On board with Rademacher now, the 2nd place Vauxhall. His teammate is leading, and that's Tarquini ahead of us, and James Thompson in there behind us. Now Rademacher is really being pressured by Thompson, and that's Blair. He obviously has a problem. He's limping around here, moving down the back of the field, letting everyone pass, but he is just crawling.
And it's all getting a bit competitive as they come into Abbey. It's 6 cars, 2 Fords, a Honda, Vauxhall and another Honda, plus a Peugeot.
Now that's one of the Fords, that's Anthony Reid running deep. That's the view from Rademacher's car. Anthony Reid ran too deep there into Abbey Corner, has lost momentum. So what can Rademacher do? Up over the hill, Rademacher is right on his boot lid in under bridge. Just trying to capitalise on that move to the inside of the field. Reedy covers, ducks on the inside again. James Thompson's part of this as well. Thompson and Rademacher side by side. He's touched him, he spun. Rademacher, ouch! Oh, that hurt. Pile driver. Rademacher bang into the side of Anthony Reid's car, turned around by James Thompson. Let's hope everybody's okay. There's
Thompson pushed me off really badly. If you can continue going. I tried to come back in the pit.
Well, he's limping back. That was a very big impact, but he's okay.
Yeah, the car, but I suppose it is drivable. I mean, Rademacher, he went off worse than a bag of prawns in the sun, and that shunts.
Look at that. Looks like an Astra.
That is an enormous impact. Rademacher was very fortunate, as was Anthony Reid. Reid can't get out the driver's door. He's had to climb across the car, through the roll cage, get out the passenger's door. And there, look at Rademacher struggling even in the pit lane.
Sliding all over the place because his right rear wheel is not touching. Just trying to bring the remains of that car back into the pits. Excuse me, Derek, I need a new car, please. This one's kaput. That's astonishing amount of damage. Just forget it. I hope Vincent isn't thinking, quick tyre change, I'll be back out there. He doesn't realise how appallingly damaged it is yet.
I think when he gets out of the car and walks around the back, he'll say, I don't believe it. But that was a big, big shunt. Started by James Thompson. It was a race for position. And Rademacher and Reid were fighting. Let's look at it again. There you see Rademacher, Reid. Thompson positioned himself to get inside Rademacher. There was contact, but James didn't lift off. He kept pushing the Vauxhall round. Goes through that polystyrene trackside. But what an impact. I mean, that was a very, I mean, couldn't have hit the car in a more vulnerable place. Reid fortunate to not be injured. Testament to the strength and integrity of the side impact of touring cars. Look at that polystyrene sign. Bang!
James Thompson fires that Vauxhall into the side of the Ford like a missile. Now, we're on board with Anthony Reid. You can see in the mirror, he just sees that car coming at the very last minute.
I mean, it came so quickly, and Reed just sort of, the eyes said, I don't believe it. And then it was a big impact. That's as big a shot I've seen all year.
Yeah, and important to remember, Reedy was driving a left-hand drive car, so he took it in his driver's door, but the car held up all right. Now, here's someone else with problems.
Left rear is gone. My rear tire is gone. Coming in for pit stop, okay? Confirmed, we ready.
Tom Christensen, bad news for him. He's having a lackluster second race anyway, and now a flat. This guy's not having a lackluster race. Tarquini is belting his way up through the field.
It's been an inspired drive from Tarquini.
Now this is the battle for the last place on the podium. Alain Menu is in third position, Tarquini in fourth position, and we're on our last lap. He's running out of time.
And one rail corner to go, that's into Abbey.
Down the inside, he's going to do it. There was no resistance at all. Alain Menu lets him through.
It looked very, very easy. And of course, if Menu were to finish in third place, he would still carry a weight penalty into the next round at Croft. So maybe the thinking man's racing driver has been thinking overtime this afternoon.
Well, a very cool player to give up points to avoid weight if that's what he's doing. But he's definitely got the position. Now, here's Van Muller, our race leader. He's sure going to be hauling lead next round because he is on his last corner. He's now on the straight, heading up to the checkered flag to take a win, and a great win for Van Muller. He drove that win. Nice stuff.
Yeah, superb win for Vauxhall and Muller, and puts himself back into contention in the championship.
And a little bit of good news as well for Ricard Rydell. Second position, he was our pole man, but a second place is some compensation for having lost an almost certain win in round one. He is closely followed by Gabriele Tarquini in the Honda. Great drive from him. Alain Menu, fourth place, and James Thompson, the man who won race one, a bruising fifth. Disappointment for Jason Plato, ultimately finishing only sixth. Tom Christensen seventh, but the scorecard tells the story. What attrition. 3 Class B runners in the top 10, all those Super Tourers knocking themselves out. But for Van Muller, this pit stop and those great outlaps really made the difference.
Yeah, it was a really good race, and all the team has made definitely a really good job and a fantastic pit stop. Unfortunately, the first race should be a bit like this one, but somebody there decided differently.
Now, incredibly, Ricard Rydell has been excluded from the results of race 2. A technical infringement to do with the rear spoiler on the car means that he gets no points for this round. He had led the championship at one point. He may now regard Silverstone as the moment when the championship moved away from him. He is now in 5th position. His teammate Alain Menu leads, Reed second, as you can see, then a pair of Vauxhalls in 3rd and 4th place. It will be difficult for Rydell to close that gap now. Tarquini takes the honours so far for Honda, then his teammate Christensen, then Thompson. That's very neat. Matt Neal is still inside the top 10 as a lead independent. And talking of independents, here's the Class B battle. Alan Morrison working his way through to win 2 races, starting both of them from the back of the grid.
Yeah, it was obviously a fantastic weekend. Delighted to be up here for the second time. And the race really went how we sort of planned it out, really. You know, we started off and took it quite easy to start, the long way around here. So we just, you know, bided our time and got into the lead, and really we just went away from them, really. You know, the 306 is working fantastic and everything's going really well.
It certainly is, because 2 wins today mean that Morrison moves up into equal first position. Nicely played, Alan. James Kay really got a battle on his hands in the Honda. Fighting Mark Lemmer is in 3rd position in the Integra, then Collard and James round out the top 5. But Van Muller must go down as his day. A great win in race 2, really putting Vauxhall back in the title hunt and taking the chase to 4.